It was a quiet morning, the kind where the world feels soft and slow, with steam curling off my coffee mug and my dogs lazing on the porch. I was still in my faded plaid shirt, socks mismatched as always, when a sharp knock rattled the door. Heavy boots thudded onto my creaky boards like they owned the place. I squinted through the window, and my stomach dropped. A woman in a crisp blazer clutching a clipboard, a guy in a slick suit jabbering into a Bluetooth, and some kid with a drone buzzing around my barn like it was a damn MOVYE set. I wasn't expecting anyone. Hadn't ordered a thing. And I sure as hell didn't invite strangers to traipse across my land like it was a public park. I swung the door open, ready to tell them to get lost, but before I could get a word out, the woman snapped, "Oh good, you're up. We're showing the property today. Stay out of the way. My property. My house. My family's farm." And they were trying to sell it while I stood there, coffee going cold in my hand. I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. That's when I realized this was no mistake. This was Linda, the HOA president from a few blocks over, and she'd lost her damn mind. This all started when the county greenlit that shiny new development on the west side. My farm was one of the last holdouts, free from the HOA's grip, because my granddad built this place from nothing after the war. He laid every beam of the original cabin, tilled the fields, and carved a life from the dirt. The house ain't fancy, but the land? It's gold open fields, rich soil, a creek sparkling out back. Developers drooled over it. I turned down every offer, no matter how many zeros they tacked on. And every time I said no, Linda's smile got sharper, like a knife being whetted. Linda wasn't your typical HOA busybody. She ruled like a queen, cruising the neighborhood in her golf cart, barking orders through a walkie-talkie, finding folks for Leah VYing trash, cans out passed on, or planting the wrong flowers. My land wasn't under her thumb, but that didn't stop her from trying to claw her way in. It started small letters in my mailbox, notices about property alignment, an HOA newsletter with my address circled in red. I laughed it off. Big mistake. Back on the porch, Linda didn't blink when I demanded answers. She waved her hand, fake smile plastered on, and said, "We're rezoning your parcel for the next phase of Riverside Estates. It'll be our new clubhouse and tennis courts. You'll get a nice buyout. You're welcome." The realtor jumped in, rattling off market comps and escrow timelines like I wasn't even there. Then I saw Ida for sale sign stabbed into my driveway's dirt, screaming prime development. Contact Linda. My blood boiled. I stormed over, yanked it out so hard my shoulder twinged, and told them to get the hell off my land. Linda tootayed like I was a kid throwing a fit. The realtor asked what year my barn was built. The drone kept buzzing. I grabbed my phone, started recording, and threatened to call the sheriff. They scattered, Linda muttering about community progress. I stood there, gripping that sign, staring at their tire tracks. This wasn't about real estate. It was about power. She didn't just want my land, she wanted to erase me from it. Later, I checked my trail cams, set up for coyotes and dumb teens. There was Linda and the realtor strolling my property that morning, pointing, laughing, planning. They'd even peeked into my barn. I saved the footage, labeled it Linda's Folly, and barely slept that night. Was the county in on this? Had she filed fake papers? I dug out my deed, checked the GPS coordinates, everything was clean. No liens, no permits. Just Linda's audacity, betting I'd buckle under pressure. She picked the wrong guy. Next morning, I hit the county records office. My old high school friend Sarah worked the desk. She pulled my file and frowned. There was a pending zoning request, filed by the HOA using my parcel number, no signature. "That's not legal," she said, handing me the forged document. Linda wasn't just a nuisance, she was trying to steal my land on paper. I left with a copy, Sarah's card, and a fire in my gut. She wanted a clubhouse. She'd get a courtroom. I sat on my porch, legal pad in hand, coffee strong enough to wake the dead. The sunrise glowed over my fields, but I couldn't enjoy it. Linda's nerve marching onto my land, acting like I didn't exist, was unreal. I'd spent 4 years in the Army, tracking threats, breaking systems. If she thought I'd roll over, she was about to meet a different me. I drove to the zoning office, an old building reeking of burnt coffee. Without GI VYing my name, I requested files on my parcel. The clerk handed over a zoning request stamped by some part-time contractor, Ethan Walsh. I didn't know him, but I remembered Linda bragging about a clerk she'd con VY and said to fast-track her projects. This wasn't a one-off. She'd been plotting for months. Back at the records office, Sarah's eyes widened at Ethan's name. He can't file zoning changes without owner consent, she whispered. She couldn't make a statement, but she'd flag it for investigation. That was enough. I called my lawyer, Tom, who'd help with my dad's estate. When I told him, he went silent, then said, they tried to saw what's saw. I laid it all out, the trespassing, the fake sale, the zoning fraud. He told me to document everything and brace for a fight. Then I called my nephew, Caleb, a cybersecurity whiz. He showed up with a drone, motion-activated cams, and a perimeter sensor, grinning. Let's remind these HOA vultures what a fence means. Linda didn't show up herself, but strange cars crept along my road, snapping photos of my livestock. I uploaded every clip to a shared folder for Tom and Sarah. Sarah confirmed Ethan was suspended, and the zoning request was flagged as fraud. Still, Linda doubled down, sending a certified letter warning of escalating consequences if I didn't cooperate. I laughed so hard I nearly choked. She thought she was the law. Meanwhile, her flyers hit mailboxes, boasting about a new clubhouse on Some I Saw land, complete with tennis courts and a dog park. My buddy Mark brought one over, then showed me the HOA's website, with an animation zooming over my barn like I was a prop in their fantasy. I couldn't sleep. I walked my fence line at midnight, flashlight in one hand, thermos in the other, thinking of my granddad, who'd held this land through floods and crashes. I wasn't letting Linda take it with pastel threats. The breaking point came when I caught Linda back on my land, unannounced with a couple in tow buyers, probably. From my upstairs window, I watched her point at my shed, calling it a future wellness spa. I marched down, camera rolling, and didn't yell. I handed the couple a zoning fraud report with Linda's name in bold, told them they were trespassing, and said it was all recorded for court. They paled. Linda looked like she'd swallow glass. They left without a word. This wasn't just about my land anymore. It was about exposing her. Then came a showdown. 5 cars pulled up one morning, strangers in fancy clothes milling around my gate, eyeing my barn. One guy called me the caretaker, like I was a hired hand. Another waved a brochure with my farm in full color, Linda's name stamped on it, promising VY Cyanary redevelopment. I snapped a photo, told them the land wasn't for sale, and pointed to my deed posted by the mailbox. One guy shrugged, saying Linda claimed I was being EVY Ted. That was it. The lie was out. She was telling people I was gone. I warned them the sheriff was a call away. They left, one muttering about my unprofessional attitude. I laughed. I called Tom, sent the brochure, and posted a warning online. Messages flooded in, people thanking me. One sharing text from Linda claiming my land was under HOA possession. That was Exhibit A. The next day, Linda strutted up my driveway, Realtor in tow. I stayed inside, letting my cameras work. She yelled in her phone when I didn't appear. Then the sheriff arrived, not a deputy, but Sheriff Dan, an old high school teammate. I shook his hand, explained everything. Linda ranted about public amenities and her authority. Dan asked for her proof. She handed over her flyers. He handed them back, unimpressed. I showed my deed, Sarah's note, and buyer screenshots. Dan turned to Linda. One more step on this property, and it's trespassing and misrepresentation. She froze. The realtor slunk away. Dan took my number and a jar of my pickles, laughing about missing this side of town. That night, I called my cousin Emma, a social media pro. We made a 6-minute VY Del Linda's flyers, trespassing footage, Dan's takedown. We posted it online. This HOA president tried to sell my farm while I lived in it. It exploded, thousands of VYUs, hundreds of comments. People shared their own HOA horror stories. Local news picked it up. Linda's name was now a scandal. Her board cracked when a member, Greg, leaked emails showing she'd targeted multiple non-HOA properties, calling my farm an unfortunate relic. A reporter published it, linking my VY Deo. The comments were savage. Linda called a closed-door HOA meeting but the bylaws required a public forum. I showed up with 40 residents, all fed up. Linda tried to spin at misunderstandings, good intentions. I stood, calm, and asked to share EVY Denke. She tried to shut me down, but the board overruled her. I plugged in USB, showing trespassing clips, fake listings, zoning fraud, Greg's emails, my deed. The room gasped. One man demanded, "Did you list his property?" Linda admitted she'd been overzealous. The board voted her out on the spot. She left in silence, shame trailing her like smoke. The new president, Paul, apologized, scrapped the development, and corrected the records. Tom filed a lawsuit: fraud, trespassing, defamation. Linda's lawyer begged to settle. We held firm. The county investigated other targeted properties. 2 homeowners shared their stories. One couple nearly lost their lot to Linda's lies. I and VY Ted them for pie. My VY Deo hit a national HOA watchdog channel, dubbed the wildest overreach in years. The top comment? She tried to sell his farm while he was in it. Next level entitled, "My land was officially free of HOA claims." I put up a sign, "Family farm since 1948. No trespassing, no tours, no Lindas." But I wasn't done. Linda's lot across the street, her old HOA event space, was outside their zoning. I bought the strip between it and the road, blocking her access unless I granted an easement. I didn't. She'd have to slog through a ditch she once called trashy. Poetic, right? Spring came, and peace returned. My dogs trotted beside me as I walked the fence line, the weight of Linda's schemes gone. The lawsuit settled. Linda paid my fees, issued a public apology, and her actions went on county record. I framed it beside my granddad's deed and a photo of the dog park I built on her old lot. Not a clubhouse, but a rescue-funded haven with agility rings and happy chaos. Neighbors brought pies, kids played, and one mom said her kids finally felt welcome somewhere. I didn't do it for thanks. I did it to show what community really means: respect, not control. Linda's lot went up for sale. She moved away, chased by shame or bills. I didn't care. I never spoke to her again. Some endings don't need words, just truth settling into place. Sitting on my porch, watching kids toss a frisbee to their dog in the park, I felt balance. Not revenge, just justice. My land was safe, my legacy secure, and Linda's schemes became a warning. Don't mess with a man's home and expect to walk away clean. So what do you think? Was I too harsh, buying that strip to block Linda's access? Or did she deserve every bit of it? Should HOAs have any power over private land? Or are they just legalized bullying? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if you're Team Farm, and subscribe for more stories where the little guy fights back. Let's hear it. What would you have done?